Hi, welcome to segment 2 of this week's class on curriculum and academic plan. This is Paula Lochello. The 2 activities you have just completed have provided opportunities to evaluate both the similarities and differences in general education requirements at 2 universities and colleges, as well as insight into the evolving liberal arts curriculum at Bowdoin College with emphasis on meeting the needs of the student learner. Please keep this information in mind as we continue our discussion. We mentioned in segment 1 that defining curriculum as an academic plan allows that plan to be implemented on a micro level for a single lesson or on a macro level for the college as a whole, with various levels in between. Is that adequate? An academic plan consists of choices made about the 8 elements. When developing that plan, consideration is given to the purpose, the content, the sequence, the learners, instructional processes, instructional resources, evaluation, and adjustments. In developing or revising a course or program, we make choices about those elements, sometimes intentionally, sometimes rationally, and sometimes both intentionally and irrationally. For example, in a study of curriculum reform among U.S. engineering faculty who have received planning grants from the National Science Foundation, the goal was to develop curricula that include emerging technologies and to eliminate legacy materials that are no longer useful to the profession. How often do you think this happens in programs in universities? The time is actually taken to update courses and their requirements and eliminate legacy materials and programs. This emphasizes the need for continuous adjustments in a timely fashion. For example, think how much better it would be for both students and instructors to do midterm course evaluations or surveys versus at the end of the course. You will have the opportunity to complete a mid-year evaluation in this course, as I want your opinion on what is and is not working, so I can make adjustments for the rest of the semester. Advantages of an academic plan include the fact that evaluation and adjustment are part of the process. Unlike the static definition of a curriculum as a set of courses, an academic plan actually implies strategic decision-making as conditions, whether they are student goals, social needs, accreditation standards, or resources, change. So change and adjustment is a good idea. But how serious are we about the idea of strategic adjustments as conditions change? Let's go back to the idea that the curriculum on paper is an approximation of a learning experience until it is actually animated by students and instructors who interact with content and with each other. No evaluation or adjustment can be made. We have to look at academic curriculum in an ongoing context. So far, we have considered it in its noun form, a race course to be traversed, but not in its infinite verb form, career, to run, especially the course. In the latter, the emphasis is on the activity of running, or metaphorically, on the activity of our making meaning from the course. This career view makes mind a verb and identifies the fact that a curriculum is not a finished product, but a course to be run, a process view of curriculum. Should we revise a model of curriculum to portray a fully contextualized understanding of learning? or perhaps the idea that adjustments can be made as the course is being run, as well as after it is completed. This involves the curricular goal of meaning making and sees mind as a verb. If curriculum is a site for social interaction and is influenced by those social interactions, then how do we actually get to the idea that mind is a verb and that curriculum is really about making meaning? When we look back at the academic plan model, it already includes the idea that external as well as internal influences act on the plan. We see these on the left-hand side of the model. They also act within the plan. Placing learners within an educational environment invites those who develop curricula to think in specifics. For example, the role of individual characteristics, preferences, and cultural and social backgrounds in learning. Thinking about learners as individuals encourages us to consider how students may differently experience a curriculum that does or does not take into account who they are, why they are in higher education, and how their prior knowledge and life experiences influence the sense they make of what they encounter in a curriculum. For our first activity for this segment, please take time to listen to the podcast, What the Best College Teachers Do with Ken Bain. It is approximately 38 minutes long. As you listen, take notes and respond to the following 2 questions. What input does Bain provide regarding the academic plan? Does Bain's input change or reinforce Latica and Stark's academic plan? Once you have completed listening to the podcast and your responses, please post your responses on the Moodle forum for PowerPoint 2, Segment 2, Post Activity 1. You will also need to respond to 2 of your classmates' posts. Once you are finished with this activity, please return to this PowerPoint so that you can complete Activity 2. Hi, welcome back. For your next activity in this session, please read the article, Should Students Be Partners in Curriculum Design, and post your responses to this question in the Moodle forum for Segment 2, Post Activity 2. You will also need to respond to 2 of your classmates' posts. Then, look on Moodle 2 for the final class activity, which is a reflection for this week's session. Afterwards, please proceed to the next activity. Thank you and have a great day.